Greetings one and all, and welcome to another Dark Rider animation analysis. I am the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, reminding you as always that even a cheeseburger can be deconstructed to its original source. Scary-Oke is the debut episode of the second season of Gravity Falls and carries the burden of setting up a new story arc for the rest of the season to come. There's a lot more room for story development as we've already come to know who the characters are from the past season, so everything going forward has to scale and set the new conflict, especially because we already have our expectations set quite high. At the end of the previous season, Grunkle Stan took Dipper's journal and retreated down to a secret room beneath the Mystery Shack, activating some strange machine with all three journals. This episode picks up right where that left off, with Stan announcing that he is close to completing his greatest achievement. While we see a lot of flashing lights and technobabble, it is still a mystery to us exactly what this machine is doing. The episode tantalizes us with this secret, showing us that Stan knows a lot more about the supernatural goings-on in Gravity Falls than he initially lets on, while not completely revealing all of the secrets just yet. Similarly, Dipper also feels tantalizingly close to unlocking the secrets of Gravity Falls. He recites some of the cryptic messages that Bill Cipher said during the previous season, although it appears to be a dead end because, as Mabel points out, half of the pages in the journal are blank. Dipper has been repeatedly shown to be somewhat obsessive with figuring out the mysteries of Gravity Falls, sometimes to the unintentional detriment of others around him. Here we see this in action. The FBI notice a strange energy emitting from Stan's machine, although Stan quickly thwarts Dipper's attempts to inform him of the supernatural findings and using the attractions of the Mystery Shack as an excuse. This only fuels Dipper's eagerness to solve the mysteries further, which leads him to accidentally raise a horde of zombies. This also results in Seuss getting bitten and turning into a zombie himself, leading into some surprisingly clever character humour. Seuss is a zombie, but he still retains all his mannerisms, speech patterns and personality, just now he is a zombie and desires to eat people's brains. It's rare that zombified characters in any media will retain the core personality, but it's extra levels of hilarious to see Seuss continues to behave his usual cheesy and somewhat absent-minded self while still being a zombie. This proves that he isn't stupid either, as unfortunately for Dipper, Mabel and Stan, he taught the zombies to knock out the fuse box, cutting off any power to the house. As the mysterious Mr. Enter explained in his Lamb 4 Swine review, Seuss pushes the limits of likability sometimes, but he is never mean-spirited in anything he does, even as a zombie trying to eat people's brains. Mabel is always the more comedic of the two twins, introducing several minor characters from the previous season at her party, giving us a potential running gag for the season in the form of electronic sweaters. She sets up several points of foreshadowing in the episode, something that's become a staple of Gravity Falls. However, I feel the scenario is getting somewhat excessive. We have the throwaway line about Dipper raising the dead, the black UV light exposing the invisible ink in the journal, as well as the karaoke singing to defeat the zombies. There are only so many times you can foreshadow a plot point before the audience starts to catch on and start looking for any small gag or mention of the object in the episode, making it predictable. While I didn't expect the karaoke or black lighting to be relevant, the minute I heard Dipper say, "Mabel, I'm not going to raise the dead," is the moment I knew he was actually going to raise the dead. The tone of the episode also feels considerably darker than the previous seasons as well. The zombies, while made less scary due to Seuss's antics, are still pushing the limits of grotesque character designs that I'd expect from the kids show. This continues to suggest how big the mystery is, since whatever is being hidden could very well be more dangerous than anyone could anticipate. Thankfully, none of the major characters in this episode are wasted, with the biggest example of progression being Stan. He finally admits to Dipper that he knew about the supernatural all along and was keeping them in the dark in order to protect him and Mabel. This suggests that something larger than I'd suspected in season 1 as well. The entire business of the Mystery Shack is in order to protect the public from the supernatural. Humanity is always naturally curious, and sooner or later people are going to start looking for these creatures, potentially getting themselves into danger. So in some respects, Stan's scams are actually doing a lot of good for the town. It harnesses the natural curiosity of the townsfolk, channeling it into something safe and harmless. If everyone is keeping their attention glued to the fake supernatural exhibits, then they are out of harm's way from the real deal. The most special thing about this episode is how it expands on the status quo. While Gravity Falls never quite fell into the trap of the status quo as god trope, as other shows like the 1980s Dungeons & Dragons cartoon did, Gravity Falls has largely had the status quo of Grunkle Stan being ignorant about the supernatural goings on around him, while Dipper and Mabel solve it behind his back. There are only so many ways you prevent a character like Stan from revealing his knowledge of the supernatural without him overlooking the obvious. So both Stan and Dipper now attempt to reach a compromise, not actively searching out for the supernatural while still being honest about the secrets this town still holds. Both of which, of course, were dishonest promises, so the characters are progressed while still keeping enough of the same to have a similar conflict. Overall, Scary-Oke does well to up the drama in scale from the first season in order to continue the established themes of conspiracy theory style mysteries, but also giving us a fresh character progression, preventing excessive repetition. Despite some rehashed jokes and overused foreshadowing, the humour is generally still funny as ever, and we are given enough new information to clue us in on what the biggest mystery of all might be. There is much more to discover from Gravity Falls, and with the level of grounding that Dipper, Mabel and Stan will share, I am looking forward to seeing what more there is to come. Scary-Oke gets an overall grade of an A+. Until the next review, this is the Nightmare Rider, Major Mind, riding out.